In my preliminary task, I didn't do much planning and preparation, mainly because I wasn't taking it very seriously. However, as I didn't get very good marks for this in that task, it made me try harder in the main task, and it also showed me that it really does matter, as when making my student magazine cover I wasn't really sure what I was doing, as I'd not planned it properly, and this then made the design of the magazine not as good, as I was just making it up as I was going along. In my main task, however, I planned my magazine cover in a very detailed way, so I knew exactly what I was doing when I was doing it and when it had to be completed by. This meant I drafted the designs on paper, and then again I computerised it, which meant I had clear knowledge of what I was doing, and this also made the whole process a lot easier as I knew what I was doing. I did a lot more research in my main task, basically because I put a lot more time into it. I wanted to get a clear idea of what went into a music magazine, as I don't read them myself, and to do this it was incredibly important that I did a lot of research so my magazine was recognisable as a real magazine and had the features of a real magazine had. Referring to question 6, I organised my time constructively by using Time Toast, and this was very beneficial as it was a very interactive way of telling me when things had to be completed by, which made me obey all of my deadlines and made me finish them. I didn't do this in my preliminary task, and in the end all the workload got left to the last minute, which is why I wasn't happy with my student magazine cover at all. So it was very important to plan and structure what I was doing in a very organised way, and to leave myself some time at the end as well in case I needed to make any changes to what I'd done. In my preliminary task, I basically just had no idea what I was doing with the pictures, what shot types, angles, lighting, etc. And I wasn't happy with my finished product at all, as there were leaves in the background, and I wanted it to be with like a clear background. So I had to cut the model out, which ended up looking very tacky and non-realistic. So I learnt from this that the background I was going to be shooting had to be the background to what I wanted from my magazine, like in my cover with the black wallpaper. However, if I wanted the model to be cut out, I needed a clear background, so it was easier to cut them out, like in my double-page spread model. And then this relates back to my targets, as I feel I've improved and learned this through the process of the task. The conventions of the magazine front covers and content pages and double-page spreads are basically the same on both my preliminary task and the main task, as each magazine effectively have very similar things, such as reversed out cover lines, the main title, which is the masthead, a magazine header, the main cover line, website, barcode, and the main image. After my research of music and rock in particular magazines, I put some smaller images into my main task, as I found many rock magazines do this to make the cover seem more busy and more going on, which therefore increase sales. I created both my preliminary task and main task cover in Photoshop, and this is mainly because I knew how to use it from previous occasions. However, I then went on to use InDesign for my double-page spread, and throughout creating this I kept learning how to do new things and effects, import pictures, even simple things like text, and how to create a double-page spread instead of a simple A4 page. And I also learned how to use new programs such as SlideShare and Time Toast, which I didn't know how to use before. And so overall I've learned how to use a lot of new different technology throughout the main task, which I didn't know how to use before I started the task. Something I've learned thoroughly throughout this process is how important the target audience is. I referred back to my focus group on almost every decision I had to make during the process of my magazine, as they are the people who are going to be reading it, and so they are the people who matter most when it came to my decision making. I found that the more I was aware of my target audience, the more effective my magazine became, as the more advice I got from like the rock chick herself allowed me to understand what features, stories, pictures, etc. I needed to make the magazine attract to them, which is inevitably what my aim was. Therefore, their advice really affected the outcome of my decisions that I made during the production process of the magazine. For example, I tried out many different fonts for the masthead, and I came to the decision, and then I thought about this again, and I asked my focus group what they thought, and they came back to me with a different font style, and after trying that one out, I agreed that it looked a lot better and it would attract a lot more people who were in my focus group. Another example is when deciding whether or not to put a dark background on my double page spread. I had no idea what to do, and my focus group assured me that the darker one had a classier yet rock look to it. And again, I was very fond of the final decision and confident in my choice that it would appeal to my target audience itself, like it has done for my focus group. From the whole task, the biggest thing I have learned is that if you leave yourself a lot of time and plan what you're going to do effectively, it's a lot easier to carry out the task and get it done successfully in order to make a really good end project. I've also learned that it's very important to follow each step of what you need to do to complete, in order to get good marks in the task and not miss anything out, as it will hopefully then increase my grade. This relates back to my targets, as I have tried very hard not to miss anything out and complete each task that's given to me, and that's in the marking scheme. And it also gives myself a lot of time to complete it in when I plan it as well. I also used a lot more technology in my evaluation and in my blog as a whole, which again hopefully has increased some marks where it didn't in my preliminary task.